Making more money seems like the obvious path to building wealth, but the human brain comes pre-installed with biological traps specifically designed to drain those resources dry as quickly as they come in. The most insidious of these traps operates completely in the background. Economists refer to it as lifestyle creep. This chart shows exactly how the trap functions. As your income grows, things you once considered rare luxuries quietly recategorize themselves in your brain as absolute necessities. You get a raise, and suddenly that premium car lease feels normal. Your spending line curves upward at the exact same rate as your income line, leaving your actual net wealth completely flat. Trying to out-earn your spending habits is a losing game. It ignores the internal psychological threshold that automatically consumes any new surplus you generate. Sometimes the sabotage doesn't happen gradually. It starts with a single, seemingly innocent purchase that triggers an uncontrollable spiral of consumption. This is known as the Diderot effect. The concept takes its name from Denis Diderot, an 18th century philosopher. A friend gifted him a beautiful, elegant scarlet dressing gown. Diderot loved it, but almost immediately the rest of his apartment, his old straw chair, his cheap desk, began to look incredibly tawdry next to his pristine new garment. Objects in our lives exist in tightly linked groups, known as Diderot unities. When you introduce one high-status item into that network, it rejects the old environment. It forces you to upgrade everything else around it just to restore harmony. Diderot bought a new leather chair, an expensive writing desk, and costly prints just to match the gown. This creates a perpetual state of dissatisfaction. You buy something new, you hate everything old, and you spend until it all matches again. You become a slave to your own purchases, driving yourself into debt to maintain an aesthetic. Your physical environment acts as an active trigger, constantly pressuring you to spend. Human willpower is mathematically outmatched by the cultural pressure to keep your surroundings unified. When that spending spiral finally drains your accounts, the resulting financial scarcity manifests as an overwhelming subjective psychological threat. The constant agonizing stress of weighing every single financial trade-off, like choosing between paying for electricity or buying groceries, levies a massive cognitive bandwidth tax. The sheer processing power required to survive today means your working memory literally dims. With cognitive capacity depleted, the brain shifts priorities. It sacrifices goal-directed planning and long-term rational decision-making in favor of immediate survival. You start making choices that provide short-term relief, even if they guarantee long-term pain. The physical limitation on long-term planning transforms wealth loss into a self-sustaining neurological condition, creating a cycle that is difficult to break from the inside. To cope with this overwhelming cognitive overload, the brain deploys a flawed defense mechanism, financial avoidance. Refusing to open a past-due bill, actively ignoring your bank account balance, provides a quick burst of relief. You don't have to face the threat right now, but out in the objective world, that silence breeds late fees, compounding interest, and a rapidly worsening reality. This triggers a phenomenon called inaction inertia. The initial threat causes avoidance, that avoidance generates severe financial penalties. The penalties make the threat even larger, resulting in stronger avoidance. Missing the initial window paralyzes you. Eventually, you develop a state of learned helplessness, convinced your financial situation is spinning out of control and nothing will fix it. Whether driven by the social pressures of the Diderot effect or the internal paralysis of avoidance, these emotional responses serve as a significant internal liability to wealth preservation. Managing these biological triggers requires a shift in strategy, moving away from unreliable willpower and toward a rigid, rules-based framework. You need an exact architectural blueprint to stabilize the collapse. A proven method is the 4 steps to financial recovery. The first phase requires evaluating your current financial reality without ego or shame. From there, you set SMART goals, targets that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. You map out exactly what you owe and what you need. Next comes the execution phase. You implement a strict spending plan. You actively seek assistance from utility providers or food programs if you need to cover baseline expenses. And crucially, you continuously evaluate and adjust that plan when the inevitable setbacks occur. This mechanical framework works because it doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't rely on your motivation, your mood, or your working memory. It relies entirely on slow, step-by-step execution over several years. We can reinforce goals. Cloud-based accounting software and automated finance systems create a single source of truth for your money. They eliminate the need for manual, emotional decision-making, which directly neutralizes the urge for financial avoidance. To protect this automated system from sudden external shocks, you deploy a sinking fund. Think of it as a kinetic shock absorber, a dedicated pool of money set aside specifically for large, predictable future expenses. By consistently routing a small amount of money into a sinking fund every month, you mitigate the risk of going into debt over major repairs or unexpected bills. The cash is already waiting. The panic is removed from the equation. Long-term wealth is built by engineering a cold, automated machine designed to defend your resources against the predictable behaviors of your own mind.